Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome back to Vaishnava Character class. One of the greatest worries of a devotee is to become distracted from one's subordination towards the Supreme Lord, towards Guru, and towards Vaishnavas. When we fail to maintain our mood of humility, submissiveness, and obedience, and when we fail to acknowledge the greatness of Krishna, Guru and Vaishnavas, that creates a greatest obstacle and it's one of the greatest distractions in one's spiritual life. Yes, distraction can come through smartphones, through fame, money, wealth, lust, envy. There are multiple flavors of distraction. But from one perspective, all these distractions are rooted in lack of humility. Right? What is humility? Humility is to recognize Krishna's position as the Supreme and also recognize Krishna's will, Krishna's decision, the way Krishna has empowered certain individuals in their lives, and to acknowledge everything that Krishna is and Krishna has and Krishna does is humility. And in comparison to Krishna, realizing one's own insignificant position. I am insignificant, Krishna, you are significant. You are the Supreme and I am very infinitesimal. That is humility, that feeling, that emotion, that consciousness is humility. And this fundamental understanding, foundational understanding of spiritual life, that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, I am just an insignificant, fragmental part of Krishna. So that constitutes real humility, and that manifests in our thoughts, in our words, in our dealings with others, in our overall spiritual life. And the opposite of humility is pride. And a devotee, as I said some time back, one of the greatest worries or anxieties of a devotee is to get distracted from that subordinate position, surrender, submissive mood towards the Lord, right? That is basically pride. Pride is one of the most detrimental qualities in spiritual life. Right in the beginning of creation, when Brahma just took birth in the lotus that sprouted from the navel of Lord Vishnu, Garbhodakasaya Vishnu, Brahma went into deep meditation for about 100 years. And later, the Lord was kind enough to reveal his darshan to Brahma. So Brahma saw the beautiful form of Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. and he started offering prayers. If you remember 3.9.1 onwards, his prayers begin. And they go all the way up to 24 or 25th shloka. So initially Brahma was glorifying various attributes of the Lord in his prayers. But in the last couple of prayers, Brahma says, "O Lord, I need your empowerment to create this universe. My service is to create this universe, and without your empowerment, I won't be able to create. I can't carry out this service of creation without your empowerment. Oh Lord, I need your blessings. I need your empowerment. I need your support, sanction. Then only I will be able to create. Then only I can do this service." What does it mean? Even Brahma, the foremost and the first servant of the Lord in this universe, is acknowledging that without the Lord, no one can create. Without the Lord's empowerment, no one can carry out any service. So we are doing so many services, but all these services are sanctioned by Krishna, approved by Krishna, and Krishna is kindly, mercifully allowing us to do that service, and whatever success comes in that service, the credit of that success goes to Krishna, has to go to Krishna, right? Looks like it's very relatable. Right? He's saving a lot of money for Krishna. Krishna is saving money. Okay. Krishna is Lakshmipati. So Brahma is acknowledging that all the service that I am going to do must be empowered by your grace. So I got this opportunity to serve you, and I got the ability to serve you, and I am getting success in doing this service, all because of Krishna, all because of Vishnu. Brahma is acknowledging this. Brahma is very happy, seeking that empowerment. Brahma is not saying, "Okay, Lord, don't worry, I'll take care." You want creation, right? 14 planetary systems, 14? Number is correct? Okay. How many species? 84 lakh species. Fine. I remember the number. 14 planetary systems, 84 lakhs of species, and what else? 4 Varnas, 4 Vedas, Saptaswaras. So all numbers I remember, I'll create everything. And each Manvantara should have some Manu. Yeah, I'll take care. Manu, I'll appoint Manu, no problem. Of course, the Lord appoints Manu. Prajapatis I'll create. Saptarishis I'll create. I'll empower most expert people to increase the population of this universe. Daksha is one of my foremost men. So Brahma, having confidence to do some service is not wrong. But that confidence should be confidence in Krishna, not confidence in one's own abilities or skills or talents or experience. So Brahma said, "Yes, my dear Lord, I will create, but I need your empowerment. Without your blessings and empowerment, I can't do anything." Second point, very, very important point, relevant to our current discussion. We can do any service only because of Krishna's empowerment. But point is, in the beginning, we seek blessings, we seek empowerment, we seek support, we seek prayers. But once we successfully do some service, we don't feel the need for that empowerment anymore. Right? It happens. Not everybody, but some servants. Once they get some expertise, once they get some experience in doing some service, the mood of dependence goes away. The mode of seeking blessings will go away. The mode of seeking empowerment will go away. Gaining experience is great. Gaining expertise is also great. But you gain this experience and expertise because of the initial blessings given by the Lord, because of the initial empowerment given by the Lord and His representatives, including Guru and Vaishnavas. So, if we are not very alert, we may forget it. We may forget that we received empowerment from the Lord, therefore we are able to carry out this service. Therefore Brahma noticed it. Right in the next prayer. In one prayer he said, "I need empowerment to do this service." In the next prayer he said, "My dear Lord, if I can successfully carry out this service, let me not become proud. Let me not be a victim of false prestige. So Brahma worried. I may get distracted from my sense of submissiveness to the Lord. I may become proud by successfully creating 14 planetary systems and different species of living entities. I may become proud. Oh Lord, please save me from false prestige. In short, a devotee is worried that he or she may become a victim of false pride or false prestige. So that worry is one of the foremost characteristics of a devotee. Yes, we need to be enthusiastic to render service, but we should also be cautious and careful not to become victims of false pride when we successfully render that seva. We can learn this from Brahma. Secondly, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, let's discuss an example. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have this devotee Vasudeva. He had leprosy. He ran towards Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ran to Kurma Brahman's home to take darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but somehow by the time he reached, the Lord already departed. But he was lamenting. Oh, I missed the darshan of the Lord. He was lamenting. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood the heart of this sincere devotee Vasudeva, leper, and said, I think I need to go and give him darshan. Although I am proceeding in my yatra, I can even change my itinerary, no problem. I will go back and give him darshan. So, our Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to Kurma Brahman's house just to give darshan to this one devotee. And as you know, this Vasudeva had leprosy, and there are some oozing substances and pus and blood all over his body. And there are some insects also. Whenever the insect falls down, he will pick up that insect and place it back on his body. Not that he likes insects or not that he is unclean. He is so humble that my body is troubling me. My body is not so healthy. My body is emanating pus and blood and other substances, abominable substances. If this blood, if this pus is of some use to this insect, and if I am able to do some service to that insect in this way, let me do it. Let the insect survive on my blood, not a problem. Okay, please, my dear insect, come back. Just suck my blood, no problem. To that degree, he is valuing an insect also. Just like Haridas Thakur says to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, if an insect dies, if an ant dies, does it make any difference to this entire universe? Now you are sitting at Rupa Goswami Samadhi, I don't know whether you notice it or not. There may be some ants somewhere here and there, some small insects are there. They are not even noticeable by human beings, oftentimes, unless they come in big groups. If there are some 100 ants or 1000 ants, they will cover only little patch here and you can see, oh, we'll sit somewhere else. But if one ant is crawling, you may not be able to even recognize it. But Vasudeva leper is valuing that one little ant also. Okay, let me place it back on my body. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw his humility, saw his sincerity and eagerness to have his darshan, and Lord Chaitanya embraced him with love, with affection. And just when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched the body of Vasudeva leper, disease-affected body of Vasudeva leper, what happened? Immediately his body was transformed into a very beautiful, healthy, handsome, shining, brilliant body. Mahaprabhu's touch. By Krishna's touch, Putana's Rakshasa body became so fragrant that when her dead body was being burnt, people who are staying some several kilometers away, they are getting that smell, fragrance of agaru, chandan, karpur. So, by the touch of the Lord, Putana's poisonous body became fragrant. By the touch of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vasudeva leper's body became so beautiful and brilliant and shining and handsome and healthy. Immediately the thought that appeared in the mind of Vasudeva leper is this: He's no more a leper, he's only Vasudeva, Brahmana. He said, "My dear Lord, I received this special blessing from you. I received this embrace from you. You have changed your plan of proceeding in your South India Yatra, and just to bless me, you have come back all the way. This news will become viral." Not just that, you embraced me and cured my leprosy and transformed my body so healthy. Now I must start identifying myself with this healthy, beautiful, handsome body. I may become proud of receiving this mercy from you. I may become very proud of receiving this special attention and blessing from you. Can you please tell me how can I become humble? How can I not become affected by pride? Tell me the means to become humble. What did he say? We discussed, I think. Chant the holy names of Krishna. He said, you chant the holy names of Krishna, you will become humble. Pride will not affect you. And what did Lord Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu speak to Brahma when Brahma said, may I not become a victim of false prestige? What did he say? Be rooted in my instructions. Be attached to the sound vibration of Vedas. So as long as you are attached to the sound vibration in the form of Bhagavatam or the Vedic scriptures or the holy name, you will not become proud. That's what Lord Vishnu told Brahma, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Vasudeva, Brahmana, leper, who was leper once upon a time. So what we need to understand at this moment with these two examples is either Brahma or Vasudeva, they both are concerned that they may become proud. So a devotee should be cautious not to become proud and should pray to Krishna, Krishna, let this pride not overwhelm me. I want to do service nicely. I want to do service very effectively. But that effective service and the recognition that I am getting for that service should not make me proud and arrogant. Please help me. So, the more one is rooted in this sound vibration of Srimad Bhagavatam and holy name, the more you are attached to Bhagavatam and bead bag, the more you are grounded. The more you remind yourself that it is Krishna who is empowering me to do this service. I should not be very eager to take credit. I should not be greedy for that credit. I should just be humble. So, how can we detect pride within ourselves? Oftentimes, if there is lust within the heart, it's easily detectable. It's a gross anartha. When we are angry, when there is anger in our hearts or minds or in our words, we can easily understand because it's visible. It's very easy to detect. These are gross anarthas. But envy and pride are very subtle. It's difficult because they are on an ego platform. Lust is on physical platform. Of course, it's there on the mind also. It's rooted from false ego. All that is correct. Lust is there, as Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. Lust is there in the senses. Lust is there in the mind. Lust is there in the intelligence. All because of false ego. So that's correct. But somehow, lust and anger manifest physically. And one becomes a victim, and there are more gross anarthas. But pride and envy, they are subtle in the sense that the person who possesses this pride and envy may not be able to detect, although the whole world is able to detect. Whole world is perceiving that you are proud, but you are not understanding that you are proud. Whole world is perceiving that or realizing that or understanding that we are envious, but we may not think that we are envious. Of course, I am not envious. Daksha, he saw Lord Shiva and said, this Shiva is so contaminated, he is unclean, he has accepted my daughter as his wife, that means he is a subordinate to me, he is supposed to get up and receive me with love and respect. He has no etiquette, he has no culture, he has no cleanliness, he walks in a crematorium and he associates with ghosts and hobgoblins. unclean habits, very inauspicious person like that. Daksha criticized Shiva so much, but before giving this big lecture on the so-called faults of Daksha, so-called faults of Lord Shiva, you know what Daksha said? Oh, great members of the assembly, I am not speaking out of pride. I am not speaking out of envy. I am speaking about good culture. And whole assembly is able to detect that he is speaking out of pride and envy, but is claiming that I am not speaking out of pride, I am not speaking out of envy, I am only here to give a class on Vaishnava character. Right? Vaishnava culture, manners, etiquette, courtesy. This is what I wanted to speak. He is claiming that he is not proud, but he is proud and everybody is able to see it. At least majority of that assembly can clearly notice that he is proud. He is envious of Shiva. All the respect is going to him, all service I am doing. I am the one who has populated this universe. I am the foremost of all Prajapatis. Brahma recognized my services and appointed me as the foremost of all Prajapatis, expert and head Prajapati. I am Daksha. My name itself says I am Daksha. I have Dakshata. Means I have expertise in this job. And Shiva failed to do that service. Shiva also did that service of populating the universe. But whatever people he has created, they created disturbance more than population. They tried to attack Brahma also. Then Brahma said, Shiva, please, you don't create like this kind of people. Go and meditate. Take your people with you. So Daksha is very proud of his own accomplishments. He is very envious of Lord Shiva's exalted position. So many people are worshipping Shiva. Devatas are worshipping Shiva. Everybody is subordinate to Lord Shiva. What's happening? So he became very envious of him. So one who has envy, one who has pride, may not be able to understand that he has pride. So we need to take help from others. But by using little common sense and by some self-introspection, self-analysis, we will be able to detect that there is pride within us. So that self-introspection and that self-awareness helps us detect our emotions through our observing our mannerisms, our interactions, our thoughts. If we just honestly analyze, not in a biased way. First you already assume that I am humble and then you start analyzing. You remove that feeling that you are humble, then you start analyzing. You analyze yourself the way you analyze others. Then it's easy. It's easy to communicate the point. The way you analyze others, you analyze yourself. Then things become easy. Right? Because we are very precise. We think that we are very precisely analyzing others, the way Daksha analyzed Shiva. But he could not analyze himself. He could not detect that he is proud. He is thinking that I am doing good. Fine. So, first, let us understand or let's analyze, are we seeking any recognition for our activities? Do I have any desire for recognition, name, fame, prestige, or acknowledgement, or appreciation, or praise for what I am doing? This is like one test you can do. There are so many tests. So let's begin with one. I am doing this service for the pleasure of Krishna, or I am doing this service for the praise that I am getting, for the recognition or name, fame that I am getting. What is my motivation behind doing this service? So we need to check that. If the motivation is sincere service to Krishna, then that is humility. If the motivation is to enjoy the appreciation that comes by doing that service, that is pride. So what am I looking forward to? Because this constant desire for recognition for oneself could manifest in our dealings with others. When we speak, we may kind of boast our accomplishments. So another way to detect is how much am I speaking about myself and how much am I speaking about others. How much means not just the quantity, the quality also. How much am I speaking about my own good qualities and how much am I speaking about others' good qualities. How much am I speaking about my accomplishments and achievements and how much am I speaking about others' accomplishments and others' achievements. You may accomplish many things, but how much can you accomplish? Can you accomplish more than our Vaishnava Acharyas, more than Srila Prabhupada? Can we accomplish more than Guru? And amongst our contemporary equal Vaishnavas also, those who are like more or less equally experienced in bhakti like us, some of them did so much service maybe which we could not do. So that acknowledging others' glories and being aware of, being conscious of and being appreciative of others' glories and glorious contributions will minimize one's own self-absorption and self-obsession. Yes, we need to be self-conscious but not self-obsessed. We need to be conscious of ourselves but not be obsessed with ourselves. There's a difference. You need to analyze your mind, intelligence, your own thought patterns, your own desires, your own aspirations, your own activities. You can analyze all this, but we should not be so obsessed about thinking about ourselves only, and we fail to see good in others. We fail to acknowledge others' good qualities. So, how much am I thinking about myself? So that is another test for you to become proud. And how much am I seeking recognition? So you are thinking about yourself means you are recognizing yourself more than others. You are seeking recognition means you want to attract their attention. They should also think about me. One is you think about yourself a lot. Second is you expect others to think about yourself a lot. That attention seeking tendency is a symptom of pride. But giving all attention to Krishna, Guru and Vaishnavas is a symptom of humility. So I need attention. I need distinction. I need recognition. So that is a symptom of pride. Now let us take another quality. We discussed two symptoms of pride. How to check yourself. Questions we'll take at the end. Is it fine? So we discussed two ways of checking whether we have pride or not. So how? Number one, recognize how much you are being obsessed about yourself, and how much are you seeking recognition. How much are you thinking about yourself is one. Second, how much you are expecting others to think about yourself. In short, you can keep these two. So one more is, when others are doing better service than you, how much are you able to appreciate that, and how much are you trying to outsmart them, supersede them, defeat them, dominate them, right? So a proud person wants to keep oneself in the highest pedestal. If someone else is coming closer to him or becoming equal to him, he just cannot handle it, right? Because there is a pride in one's own accomplishment. If someone is superseding that accomplishment, he says, I want to subdue. Ideally, when someone is doing better than you, that should humble you. That should humble you. But somehow, not noticing that so-and-so quality or so-and-so good attribute or empowerment in this person is bringing him to this level, although he was here, bringing him to this level, you are unable to acknowledge that, right? Maybe this person is genuinely focusing on all the shortcomings of this person only and not acknowledging what brought him here. So that is pride, right? So it is envy, definitely. Oh, he is better than me and I am inferior to him, that's envy. But it is also pride because you are not accepting it. Because you are still thinking that you are better. Even though it's proved that he is better than you, everybody is able to notice that they are better than you, still you are unable to accept it because you are proud of your own accomplishments. Right? It is definitely envy, but that envy and pride also can coexist in a person. Daksha is a typical example of that. How can he be better than me? He has these 10 shortcomings. Yeah, he is good there, but he has all these 10 shortcomings, right? How can he be there? So there is some burning in the heart. Because you think that the 10 shortcomings that this person has, you don't have. Means you are better than him. But still, he is proved to be better than you, apparently, in so and so activity. Then you start feeling envious because you are already proud. The pride can lead to envy. And that pride can lead to insecurity also. Now, another flavor of this third point that we are saying is, are you feeling insecure? How much are you able to genuinely appreciate and genuinely accept someone else's glory? Let me give an example. In the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, this popular episode of Prithu Maharaj comes. Prithu Maharaj successfully conducted 99 sacrifices. But when he was doing the 100th sacrifice, Indra just could not accept it. Sukadeva Goswami, Maitreya Muni, right in the beginning he says that Indra became very intolerant. Indra just could not accept the glory of Prithu. He was thinking, hey, he's earthly king. I am the heavenly king. Earth is down, heaven is up, heaven is above. So how can an earthly king outsmart a heavenly king? I am Shatakratu, the performer of 100 sacrifices, 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices. I have earned lot of pious credits to come to this position. He is effortlessly doing it, one after one, one after one. My God, 99 he finished already, 100 he is able to finish. I should not allow this to happen. Instead of wholeheartedly accepting the glory of Prithu, he became very insecure and envious because he is so proud of his own previous accomplishment and he wanted to maintain that pride, maintain that status quo. No one should compete with me. So, a proud person perceives others who are doing good as competitors. And a proud person wants to compete with others. Right? You perceive others' attempt to do some services nicely as competition, as their competitive mentality towards you. He wants to compete with me. That's why. That's why he's doing so much. He's serving Krishna. No, he wants to defeat me. He wants to outsmart me. He's envious of me. Because of your pride, you are perceiving envy in them. When we are proud, we perceive envy in others. Another test. I don't know how many I am giving. You just keep counting. keep noting point. A proud person perceives envy in others. Second, a proud person is envious of others. A proud person wants to compete with others and wants to defeat and outsmart and subdue and dominate others. And a proud person also thinks that they are trying to outsmart me. They are competing with me. He sees competitive spirit in others, although it doesn't exist. Right? So this competitive mentality and perceiving a competitive mentality in others is a symptom of pride. Instead, if we acknowledge that all the devotees are trying to serve Krishna to the best of their ability, and all the abilities that they have are coming from Krishna ultimately, then life will become very easy. If you have that power of acceptance, if you have that mood of accepting someone else for their true glory, for their real accomplishment or achievement in Krishna's service, of course, that is a real symptom of humility. Unable to accept is symptom of pride or envy. So Indra could not accept it. Daksha could not accept it. Duryodhan could not accept it. Duryodhan tried to eliminate Pandavas in 100 different ways. But still the Pandavas were successful enough to erect this great Indraprastha kingdom. They got Mayasabha also, a mystic assembly hall. And Yudhishthira was conducting Rajasuya sacrifice, doing Agra Puja for Krishna, calling so many Brahmarshis and Rajarshis and Devarshis. Devatas also came in his sacrifice. But somehow Duryodhan couldn't accept. He honestly believed that he is better than Yudhishthira. Why? It's against all logic. What made Duryodhan believe that he is he is so great? He is better than Yudhishthir. What is there in him? If he uses some little common sense, he will understand that Yudhishthir is 100 times better than me, 1000 times better than me. But he never used that common sense. He never had it. Therefore, he always thought that I am better than Yudhishthir. He had so many logics. King's son should only become king. Who is the king? Dhritarashtra is the king, and I am the son. I should become son. As simple as that. But Dhritarashtra himself is not qualified to be king, because he is blind. Pandu was the original king, but because Pandu died untimely, Dhritarashtra had to sit there. But Dhritarashtra wanted all the kingdom for his own son. But although Pandu's son is Yudhishthir, from the perspective of Yudhishthir Maharaj being the son of Pandu Maharaj, and from the perspective of Yudhishthir Maharaj being elder to Duryodhan, and from the perspective of Yudhishthir Maharaj being more virtuous than Duryodhan, and from the perspective of citizens wanting Yudhishthir more than Duryodhan, Yudhishthir should sit on the kingdom. There are 10 different reasons, 100 different reasons why Yudhishthir should sit on the throne. But Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan were constantly trying to keep Yudhishthir Maharaj away from the throne because of their envy. Although there are only 5 people and we are 100 people, although they lost their father and our father is king, still they are thriving so much. They are becoming successful in all their endeavors. How is it possible? Even if we have taken away their kingdom by cheating means, still they managed to undergo their vanavas. They became undetectable in Ajnatavas, and they successfully came back, and they are asking for kingdom in a very polite manner. My God, they should become impressive. It's very impressive on the part of Pandavas. But instead of getting impressed, again Duryodhan wanted to eliminate them, throw them away. So, yes. Then a proud person may not be able to detect pride, but some little common sense and self-analysis can reveal. So one more thing is, we should try to give some liberty to others to correct us and to detect our shortcomings and faults. Other devotees are observing us. We should accept feedback. Another way to test whether you are proud or not is, how much are you open for feedbacks? How much are you receptive of any corrections? When others are giving you corrections, are you receptive or defensive? You start defending yourself and justifying your mistakes instead of rectifying them, or you are open for feedback, open for correction. Yes, I have done this mistake. Let me admit it. Let me not justify it. Let me try to rectify it. Thank you so much. Let me be grateful for the person who has given this feedback. So if that is your mood, then you are humble. So mistakes everybody will commit. Humble people also commit mistakes. Proud people also commit mistakes. The difference between these two people is, humble person accepts that they have done mistake and receives feedback. But proud people, they don't even admit that they have done a mistake. Forget feedback. They don't even receive any feedback. So are we open for corrections, for improvement, or do we feel threatened when somebody gives us any feedbacks? So these are some ways by which we can test ourselves or understand for ourselves whether we are proud or humble. There are many more. I think we'll conclude here. Any questions? Prabhu has a question.
You are mentioning that when we want to do some service, we have to see whether we have desire for recognition or not. We have to check ourselves. So I see that I do have some desire to do some service. At the same time, there is also this problem of recognition. So in that case, so one should do that service or not do, how to?
One should do that service, no doubt. Even if the consciousness is not up to the mark, one should still do the service. However, seeking recognition is not wrong, right? When you are seeking recognition for your services, what is the intention behind seeking that recognition? To expand the service? To get the attention of people towards that service which is ultimately meant for Krishna, or just doing it secretly? For example, you are conducting Rath Yatra festival or Janmashtami festival. You need to seek recognition from people. You need to put billboards, boards everywhere. Yes, please come for Rath Yatra. Right? You are doing all services, you want to hide it everywhere. Within your room only you will do conduct Rath Yatra. It's open for all. Right? So seeking recognition, seeking public attention is a part of expanding Krishna's mercy. But when we are trying to seek recognition, for example, you are giving a class in the Pandal of Rath Yatra. So they are advertising. That advertisement is required. For what? So that people can come and hear about Jagannath ji. That's the intention. That recognition is for expanding preaching. That recognition is meant to bring people's attention towards Krishna. If it becomes an attempt to bring people's attention towards oneself, then it becomes a source of distraction, or it's a symptom of pride. But whatever attention you are seeking is ultimately bring people towards Krishna. That attention seeking tendency, that recognition seeking tendency is a part of your seva. Right? So otherwise where is preaching then? We have to all live in forests, not being visible or recognizable or audible by anyone. So you have to go, you have to speak, you have to advertise. There is Rath Yatra, there is Jagannath Yatra festival, Jagannath Rath Yatra festival. All this is just to distribute mercy. As a part of it, just like you are applying chandan to the Lord, some chandan sticks to your hand also. But the intention of the pujari is not to have some chandan on his hands also. Okay, let my hands also become fragrant. Let me also get some fragrant oil, badam oil. I will also get some fragrance. No, intention is to serve the Lord. But because he is serving the Lord, some fragrance came on his hands. But he is not. His intention is not to enjoy that fragrance for oneself. It's like that. Any other? Does it answer your question? Oh.
Thank you. One more. The Vasudeva Vipra said that, please help me that I do not become proud. The Mahaprabhu said, chanting Harekrishna Mahamantra. So, is it because Mahaprabhu said to him, or it works all time? Like Harinam chanting will reduce our pride all the time?
All the time.
For us also it will.
For us also. what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Vasudeva Lapar, it's applicable to us also. Through him he is telling us. Actually he is already humble. Right? But Mahaprabhu is making a point that when you chant the names of Krishna, you will become humble. How? By chanting Krishna's names, Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, hundreds of times, thousands of times. How will it destroy our pride and induce humility in us? Yeah, I think we discussed it before. Oftentimes a conditioned soul in this material world is self-absorbed, self-obsessed. Thinks of oneself to be the enjoyer, proprietor, creator, master, controller, doer of things. Such people don't like to take someone else's name. Why should I take someone else's name? I am the best. But if they are taking someone else's name, saying Krishna, 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 they are basically saying that he is great and I am not so great. You are admitting, you are acknowledging the greatness of Krishna by chanting his name hundreds and thousands and millions of times. That induces humility. That's an act of humility, or supposed to be an act of humility. We are, by chanting Krishna's names, we are giving him attention and we are coming out of that self-absorption, self-obsession. Yes, we are becoming Krishna conscious and not self-conscious. When we are self-conscious, we chant our own names. We look at our own faces in the mirror, like this. Am I looking good? But if you become Krishna conscious, is Krishna decorated nicely? I'll put this flower also. I'll put this ornament also, right? Sometimes Pujari may also decorate the deity, and the decoration could be decoration of one's own false ego, if one is not in right consciousness, right? But ideally, why that deity decoration is there, deity dressing service is there? One thing is Krishna needs that service, but that purifies us, purifies the Pujari, and also helps the Pujari to come out of one's mentality of self-absorption and become more absorbed in Krishna. But while doing that service, we become more self-absorbed. Then the purpose of the service is defeated. Still we will get some Sukriti. Even with wrong consciousness, we are doing some service to Krishna. But ideally, whether it is decorating the deities, or speaking Krishna Katha, or chanting the holy names, or doing any other service, or studying Shastra, all this is to divert our attention from our own self to various elements of Bhakti, various limbs of Krishna consciousness, and become more Krishna conscious. So by chanting Krishna's names repeatedly, we become Krishna conscious and come out of that self-consciousness, self-absorption. We acknowledge His greatness and understand our own insignificant position, inferior position in front of Him, in comparison to Him. That induces humility. And also by chanting Krishna's name repeatedly, we are being dependent on Krishna. We are expressing our dependence on Krishna. If I think I am great, why will I remember someone else? If I think I am accomplished and I can do anything, why should I take someone else's name? The very fact that I am taking someone else's name multiple times is supposed to make me more Krishna conscious and not self-conscious. That's how chanting induces humilityness, if it is done in right consciousness. Does it make sense for you?
Can I ask one more? Actually, whenever we try to chant more names of Krishna, so some devotees, they discourage that somehow there are many arguments for discouraging. You know that.
I don't know.
No, don't know. Yes.
Okay, anyways.
I can tell.
Some devotees discourage
that
devotees who chant more, right?
Prabhupada said only 16, don't become Bhajananandi, or many hundreds are there. But I'm not afraid of other people's comments. But problem comes when we read this Saraswati Thakur, Dushtaman Tumi Kisero Vaishnav. You know that prayer? In that many times he is repeatedly telling that you are chanting in lonely place, Pratistharo Tare Nirjanaro Ghare Tava Harinam Kevala Kaitava. Means you are chanting in lonely place, you are only seeking the Pratishtha, you are not actually devotee, you are not actually Vaishnava. So I'll just take a little more time to actually little difficult subject, because then he never, preaching also there is a Pratishtha, but he never touched that point in entire. If you do preaching also Pratishtha will come, service also Pratishtha, but Harinam particularly he mentions throughout the prayer that if you chanting all time, that means you are after Pratishtha. So means my thought runs like this, that maybe during his period that was the problem, so he focused on that. But now we are so much preaching, my preaching also prestige may
so
come.
much, not chanting so much.
Maybe opposite. So I am confused. If you can somehow why that while chanting Pratishtha will come, obviously he is saying, but while preaching also will come. So he is discouraging that in that particular time, for his preaching time, he is discouraging for lonely chatting, etc. in this prayer.
I'll share my understanding, Prabhu. When too much chanting is discouraged, probably the mood is not to actually discourage chanting. Because Krishna said, Mahaprabhu said, Kirtanaya sada harihi. Krishna said, Satatam kirtayantomam. Satatam means always. Sada means always. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says Nirantara Krishna Lamalaya. Nirantara means Nirantara. Without any antar, without any interruption, without any gap, without any inconsistency, chant Krishna's name. So the scriptures, Vaishnava scriptures and Vaishnava acharyas and Krishna himself and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, they are repeatedly saying to chant Krishna's name repeatedly and constantly. Sada, Dharantara. So the instruction is clear, nothing wrong in chanting constantly. But what is being discussed here is not constant chanting. What is being discussed is to think oneself to be a great devotee by chanting constantly. If constant chanting or repeated chanting or consistent chanting is making us more self-absorbed than being absorbed in Krishna, that kind of self-absorption is discouraged. Constant chanting is never discouraged. Somebody says, I want to chant extra rounds. There is some service. I will not do service. I will only chant. That is discouraged. Right? You chant, but why not serve? We have to do service also. At least, if it is getting too much, you are sick, you are tired, okay, at that time you may say, I will do the service later. Chanting anytime you can do. Sick people also can do chanting. But sick people cannot do some physical service. Okay. So if there is a physical constraint, you may say, I may not be able to do this service, but I will chant more and I want to completely not do service. So that is little not in line with the submissiveness to spiritual authorities. Right. So that kind of self-absorption, chanting in secluded place, thinking of oneself to be great Vaishnava, and not doing any service by being submissive to Guru and Vaishnavas, that is discouraged. But chanting is not discouraged. Right? Then what else you said, bro? Preaching. Right? Even if it is preaching also, if it is done with a spirit of self-absorption, somebody wants to preach, if the idea is to bring more people to Krishna, that preaching is great. But if the idea is to become popular, gain money, gain followers, if I preach, I'll get so much donation. Okay, let me preach. If that is the intention, then that preaching is a question mark. It's not right. Consciousness, to spread Krishna consciousness and to Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavi bhiriditam, that such a high standard is set. Bhuvi granantiye bhurida janaha. Preaching must be done in a spirit of compassion. Not our compassion, Krishna's compassion. I received Krishna's compassion through the mercy of acharyas. Let me share this compassion. I am a transmitter of Krishna's compassion. I am a transmitter of acharya's compassion. In that mood, in a compassionate mood, we should preach. We should spread Krishna consciousness. As Bhagavatam says, Samsarinam karunaya aha purana guhyam. Out of karuna, our Sukadeva Goswami is preaching Bhagavatam. Purana guhyam, guhya purana, confidential purana is being revealed to everyone out of karuna, compassion, right? In that spirit, preaching is glorious. But if the true preaching, if he wants to earn name, fame, prestige, credit, money, followership, this and that, then that kind of preaching is not pleasing to the heart and pleasing to Krishna, right? So one needs to, whether it is preaching or constructing temples or distributing books or chanting the names of the Lord or studying Shastra, if all this is done in proper consciousness, that is never discouraged. The wrong spirit is discouraged, not the act of chanting more. That's what is my limited understanding. Fourth question. Others are waiting and becoming restless. Yeah.
In that prayer, my only problem was that entire prayer, both Prabhupada and also Saraswati Thakur, they do criticize or condemn lonely chanting, but
chant with devotees, no?
But this side they didn't talk about. Preaching side also, both type problem is there. Prestige, their problem.
How can we be sure that they didn't talk about
I'm saying
preaching
that,
in
that
rock congregation.
particular that.
In that one song you can't put 100 things. That song, every song or every shloka has a particular theme. In one song, Nirjan Bhajan or chanting in a secluded place, especially thinking of oneself so great while chanting so, is being discouraged. But in that song, you want this also, you want that also. You can add extra stanzas. You can request the acharyas to add extra stanzas. But that's okay. But preaching also in wrong consciousness is not encouraged.
Got it. One relevant similar question. Then I was absent in one class in that Vidyapit, but there maybe before my coming it happened. I was not, but I came to know from the discussion that louding chanting, that something connected to jnana, something like that. Jnana, one who is more inclined to jnana yogi or jnana marg, they try to be lonely, like that. Some discussion.
Correct. That's correct.
So
in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam,
can you
24 Gurus episode, this is mentioned. You know that young girl is there, some guests come, and she had to do all the household work alone. She wears so many bangles, and when she's doing household work, all the bangles are colliding with each other. Finally, she removed all and kept only one, so that there is no collision. The lesson given there is, when jnanis come together, philosophers, jnanis, when they come together, they start making so much sound through arguments. So they need to stay alone. But Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion, she wears so many ornaments. And as she is moving, her anklets will make sound, her bangles will make sound. That creates a very beautiful experience. So all these ornaments of Bhakti Devi are devotees of Krishna. They need to be together. Now compare these bangles of that young girl, poor girl, with Jnanis. They should not stay together. But compare the bangles of goddess of devotion with the devotees, Vaishnavas. They should stay together. Let them make some noise. What is that noise? Harinam Sankirtan. The sound made by devotees is Harinam Sankirtan. So Jnanis are asked to stay alone.
So if a devotee stays alone or wants to inclined toward lonely, are they considered they are inclined toward jnana yogi?
We can't exactly label devotees like that.
Like that was the discussion.
Akela baitha hai, jnani hai. You can't say he's alone, he's a jnani. He may be chanting some peacefully, but if he's always in seclusion only, then let spiritual authorities decide that. Let their guru decide. Who are we to evaluate it? Right? We may not have at least I don't have the adhikar to evaluate somebody sitting alone and chanting, I can be your jnani. I can't say that. Let their spiritual authorities evaluate all that, whether they have jnani tendencies or bhakta tendencies. Why would jnani chant constantly? He would read Shastra and then analyze grammar constantly, but he may not chant Krishna's names constantly. Right? So we need to see the spirit behind the statements. We may not just take the statements literally. We can't go by literal meanings. Let us understand in what mode are they trying to speak. Chanting, extra chanting, it's not a sin. But being proud of one's extra chanting, that is not right. That's the only thing. Why chant 16, chant 20, chant 25, chant 60? But be humble. That's the point. Right? But also do some services. If you say, I will only chant and I will not do service, that creates some kind of issue, prematurely becoming transcendental. We are not Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur can chant alone 192 rounds, right? But if one imitates Haridas Thakur prematurely, without the blessings of Guru and Vaishnavas, then there is something, they need some feedback, probably. All that, then let the spiritual authorities decide, evaluate. Some people may be approved, okay fine, you can chant, no problem. So let them evaluate. If we get into unnecessarily evaluating, judging other devotees without sufficient adhikar, then we may end up offending. No, not about yourself, I'm just telling in general. Again, how can I say that about you or anyone? Just in general. So we may become self-appointed jury panel. Right. They are giving class and you'll sit here. ठीक बोल रहे कि नहीं? So there is some kind of evaluation going on. That could become an offense. Okay. What's the time now? I have another class. Yes, Mats, you can ask.
In the name of humility, most of the times I've seen that we end up compromising with our self-respect. So, like we have to set up a barrier, like a bar kind of a thing. So,
I think last class we discussed. He will ask that question, I think. In the name of humility or tolerance, we need not and we should not allow ourselves to get exploited by others. And as you said, in the name of humility, how can we compromise on self-respect? You know what is self-respect? The real respect for the self is to humbly think of oneself as servant of Krishna. And the real respect that we can give to others is to consider them as servants of Krishna. They may think, "Hey, you are calling me servant? This is disrespect." Then you should say, "I am calling you servant of Krishna. That is the greatest respect that you can ever get as a soul." Because Jiva Swarupa hai Krishna Nityadas. He is Nityadas, he is the eternal servant of Krishna. You are calling him servant of Krishna. That's the greatest respect you are giving. If you call proprietor of so and so, or the master of so and so, controller of so and so, that is disrespect. Right? Of course, for all practical purposes, you need to call them, you need to respect them. Okay, because you are servant to servant, right? Anyway, self-respect basically means respecting the self for what the self is. We are servants of Krishna, and when we consider ourselves servants of Krishna, that is the real self-respect we can give to ourselves. Let's keep others aside for a while. So self-respect means I must consider myself servant of Krishna. And that is humility. That real self-respect is humility, right? So humility doesn't compromise on self-respect. But if there are some conditioned souls who are trying to trouble us, exploit us, take advantage of our mild nature, modest nature or humble nature, we need not allow ourselves to get exploited by it. So by them, we need to do the needful to protect ourselves in a very dignified way and a Vaishnava way. We may have to escalate the matter to the concerned authorities so that they can do the needful, that you get your quote-unquote self-respect, real respect, so that your humility and qualities of tolerance and modesty are not exploited by people. People may take advantage of us. I understand this. People may use us like doormats. So we should not allow that to happen. One last question. You got answer. Very good. Okay. Last question. I have another.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. That was one of the best class I heard on humility. Like, my question is, like gopis were competing with each other, like how to best serve Krishna. There's something called positive competition. So can you elaborate more about that?
If the competition is not a product of envy, and if winning the competition does not lead to pride, and if losing the competition does not lead to jealousy, then it is healthy competition. If that competition between two people is inspiring each other to do better than what they are ordinarily doing, that's a healthy competition. It's like Krishna is watching the beauty of Vrindavan forest and some gopas had a competition. I will touch Krishna first, I will touch Krishna first. All these boys run towards Krishna and only one boy will touch Krishna first. And other boys did not feel envious. And the boy who touched Krishna first, he did not become proud also. Relationship continued. Friendship continued. If it is unhealthy competition, that will definitely lead to pride, envy, jealousy, arrogance, ego, disruption of relationships, destruction of friendships. So, but if it is healthy competition, that will help both parties rise up to their full potential and do better than what they are ordinarily doing. Okay, shall we conclude here? Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.